Something that I've realized in this past couple years is that what BPN does, what our primary mission is all behind fueling. We fuel performance. Performance being your training sessions, performance being your work, performance being your ability to show up as a friend, a spouse, a parent. Our job is to help people get better by fueling performance, not just through these products, but also content. The content that we create is meant to fuel performance through commitment and discipline and consistency and training and being a role model and choosing the hard right over the easy wrong. All of these things that I talk about on a regular basis are intended to fuel your performance. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Nick Bear Podcast. In today's episode, we are talking all about endurance supplements, which supplements you can and should use before, during, or after your training, how to choose what best supplement is suited for your wants and needs. I'm going to walk you through the products that we, being Bear Performance Nutrition, have created and offer. There is now a wide selection of endurance products that we have built over the last couple years. Very proud of the line. And we recently added a few new products that I'm super excited to talk about. But before we dive into that, I want to let you know that every single year we do a big sale, and that is around Black Friday. Now, we never have been a brand that does a lot of sales throughout the year. We don't even do many sales throughout the year. So when we do a sale, it's typically pretty big. The response has been amazing. We greatly appreciate the support that you have shown the brand. If you've never tried BPN products before, this is a great opportunity to try and sample some of our existing and new products. So our Black Friday sale this year is going to be from November 24th, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time until November 27th, 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. That is at bpnsupps.com. It is 20% off everything, and select items will be 30% off. So like I said, this is a great opportunity to try our extensive product offering from endurance, wellness, performance supplements, as well as apparel, gear, and accessories. And if you've never tried any of our products before, like I said, great opportunity. If you have, well, this is an amazing opportunity to stock up. Every year we have people who buy their entire year's worth of supplements during our Black Friday sale. It's wild. People buy 12 to 15 containers of whey protein of all the different flavors that we offer, stock up. It probably fills an entire closet in their home. But because we don't do many sales, when we do, you guys show up. And we greatly appreciate that. So Black Friday for BPN this year, November 24th to November 27th. Take advantage of it if you want to. And like I said, if you've never tried our products before, great opportunity to try BPN Supps. Now, a background on endurance supplements. The way that I view endurance products to supplement your training is through fuel and support. Now, when I started BPN in 2012 out of my college apartment in Western Pennsylvania, at that time, we were strictly focused on being a performance supplement company, targeting and catering to the traditional gym rat. I was a bodybuilder back in the day, So our first product we ever launched was Flight. It's our flagship pre-workout. And then after that, we offered creatine, Endo Pump, which is a pump enhancer, Intraflight, which is branched chain amino acids, and then whey protein. Those products catering towards, like I said, the bodybuilding, gym rat, strength, hypertrophy focused athlete. And then a few years later, we ventured into the health and wellness category of offering greens, superfood, red superfood being strong greens, strong reds, joint support, fish oil, strong omega, and a selection of health and wellness focused supplements. And then a few years after that, we then started creating endurance supplements, which I will talk about here today. Now, before we dive any deeper into these products, something that I've realized in this past couple years is that what BPN does, what our primary mission is all behind fueling. We fuel performance. Performance being your training sessions, performance being your work, performance being your ability to show up as a friend, a spouse, a parent. Our job, my responsibility, my obligation, my passion is to help people get better by fueling performance, not just through these products, but also content. The content that we create is meant to fuel performance through commitment and discipline and consistency and training and being a role model and choosing the hard right over the easy wrong. All of these things that I talk about on a regular basis are intended to fuel your performance. So whether it's a physical product, or it's a mindset, or it's an emotion, or it's the mission of go on more, that is what BPN does. That is our mission. So a few months ago, I recorded a podcast called How to Properly Fuel for Endurance Training. The response was great. It helped many people. And a lot of the things that I was talking about in this podcast was based off of what I've made mistakes in the past, what I have failed at in terms of fueling and training around endurance performance, endurance goals, whether that's triathlon, spending time on the bike, swimming, running, training for marathons, trying to go faster for longer distances. Endurance. I've made all of the mistakes in my endurance training. I mean, when I first got started, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to train. I didn't know how to fuel. I didn't know how to recover. And I had to learn all of these things by making the mistakes and by failing. So now, obviously, a lot of the content that I create, a lot of things I talk about are around fueling for performance, because that is a controllable that you can control. If you want to have a really good workout, if you want to have a really good race, you have to be willing and able to set the conditions to set yourself up for success to achieve the desired outcome. And setting the conditions, or part of setting the conditions, is doing the right things on a frequent and consistent basis, which turns into a habit, and controlling the controllables. Fueling properly is one of those things that you are in control of. And it will make a huge impact. It has made a huge impact on my training, on my workouts, on my races, and ultimately making progress in my endurance goals and efforts. Now, a lot of people will talk about overtraining, and I used to talk about overtraining as well. And I've mentioned this story many times before. because this story was the moment where I realized how important proper fueling for endurance training really is. When I was training for my second triathlon with Natasha at NVDM Coaching, she told me, Nick, and she's a professional triathlete. She said, Nick, I can train all day as long as you kept me fueled and fed. And oftentimes people talk about overtraining and they think they are doing too much work. They're applying too much stimulus and effort. But the reality is that it's very rare for someone to be overtraining, but people are often under recovering and under fueling. Now, as you train longer for years and years and years, your body builds adaptations and it gets better. It becomes more efficient handling more volume. So if you take someone who is training day one and compare them to someone who's been training year 5, someone who has been training for 5 years on a frequent and consistent basis can handle and manage physically, mentally, emotionally, can handle and manage more volume better than, more effectively and efficient than person who is training day one, because their body has been exposed to a stimulus and the body will adapt to that stimulus. It will get better at managing that stimulus over time. So when we're talking about overtraining or under recovering, if you will, the person who is training for 5 years will recover at a more efficient rate than the person who has been training for 1 day because of adaptations over a long period of time. So that's something to take in consideration with under recovering. How long have you been training? How long have you been exposed to a stimulus being workouts? But we have to look at under fueling. If you are under fueling for workouts, and again, I've made these mistakes in the past as well. If you under fuel, you will under recover and it will feel like you are over training. That's why in this marathon block that I'm in right now, I will not do any workouts fasted. None. I make sure before every training session, every run, I'm consuming carbohydrates and electrolytes. Depending on the distance and duration and intensity of that workout, I will be fueling during that training session. And I always consume food and nutrition after a workout or training session. Doesn't matter the distance, duration, and intensity. After a run, after a workout, I'm always getting carbs, some electrolytes, protein, and some healthy fats in my diet because I want to be able to recover for the next workout or next run that day. That is the importance of proper fueling. If you underfuel, you will not recover properly and you will not make the progress that you desire because, like I said, this is a controllable that you are able to control. And if you neglect proper fueling, you neglect nutrition, and the supplements we've created around endurance are fuel sources, which we'll get into here in a little bit. If you don't utilize nutrition around your training sessions before, during, and after, you're not going to make the progress you want. You won't achieve the goals you desire, and you're going to be holding yourself back. You're not going to be reaching your full potential. So you have the ability to make progress. Use the tools that are accessible to you, whether that's supplements to fuel and or actual food, to have the best outcome possible. And the last thing I'm going to talk about before we start talking about some of these products is that have a plan. It's important to have a fuel plan before you go into, especially a race, but workouts. So if I have a workout tomorrow, and say tomorrow's workout is a track workout, it's critical velocity. I have some warm up and cool down miles, and in between there, I have some 1 mile repeats, 1,000 meter repeats, 800 meter repeats. I'm going to know exactly what my fuel strategy and plan is tonight before I wake up tomorrow. I'm going to know what I'm going to consume before that workout and at what time. I'm going to know what I'm going to consume during the workout and at what intervals. And then I'm going to know or have an idea of what I'm going to consume after the workout to recover from the session. So it's really important to have a fuel plan and fuel strategy. Now, I'm going to dive into some of the endurance products that we offer. I'm going to be talking about G1M Sport, which is the first endurance supplement we launched in the market. I believe it was 2018. I'm going to talk about our electrolytes, the Go Gel, which we recently launched, and the feedback has been incredible. I really appreciate the feedback that we've received and how many of you guys showed up and bought the Go Gel. And then I'm going to talk about the newest product we are launching, and that is the Go Bar. The Go Bar has some of the most beautiful packaging I think we've done yet. Alex Rodriguez, our brand director, has done an amazing job on our existing and new packaging recently. And he's done some just incredible stuff with this whole endurance category and some of the newer products we've been launching. Now, we offer different products in different delivery systems for different reasons. And this is the main reason I wanted to talk about our endurance products in a podcast, because there's a lot to unpack. There's a lot of questions we receive, and there is some confusion, especially for people who are just getting into endurance training and understanding how important proper fueling is. I mean, since I've been talking about how to properly fuel for endurance training, people have reached out to me via email, DM, messages. I see it in the comment sections of just saying how much of a difference proper fueling for their training has impacted their ability to progress throughout their workouts. Like, people who didn't understand, and I was the same way, like I've said a million times, if you don't know how to properly fuel for training, you don't know how much better you can train and work out and recover when you are properly fueled. So I'm going to talk about G1M Sport, the Go Bar, Go Gel, our electrolytes. And as you can see, there's a few different products, and they all ultimately serve the same intent and purpose. And that is to help fuel you and replenish what you are using and losing during those training sessions. That is a goal with all of these products. Now, they are offered in different delivery systems based off of personal preference, how to use it, when to use it, and then based off of what's most convenient for how you can carry it, consume it, and use it. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. Is my goal, my hope is that after you hear this podcast, you can make the best decision based off of what your goals are and what's going to be most convenient for you to use. But also, I would encourage you to experiment with all these different products to find what you enjoy best for which workouts and what sessions. Because I use all of these products I'm about to talk about. I use all of them for different reasons and different workouts, different training sessions. Now, the foundation of the way we formulated and put these together is that we wanted everything to be fast and easily digestible. So when we go into the R&D or research and development process with our contract manufacturers, our ingredient suppliers, and consultants that we work with to bring these formulas to life, the ingredient selection that we end up putting into the product is chosen based off of a few factors. One, the ingredients that we want to consume and use before, during, and after training. Ingredients that we like and that we trust. Ingredients that work well within the formula, but ingredients that are going to work with you and not against you. Here's a clear example right here. The Go Gel. We created the Go Gel as a whole, simple ingredient sourced fuel source that you could carry and use during your runs. We chose whole, simple ingredients because they work with you, not against you. A lot of the gels on the market use harsh ingredients such as maltodextrin. Maltodextrin is cheap. It is a fast-acting carbohydrate source. However, a lot of people have GI, which is gastrointestinal distress, discomfort, bloating, gas, and diarrhea. We did not use maltodextrin for that reason. It does not work with you. It works against you. And if you've ever been on a run or you've been in a race and you've taken a maltodextrin-based gel, this doesn't happen to everyone, but it happens to many. It happened to me. Quickly after consuming that gel, you'll be looking for the closest porta potty that you can find. And if you can't find a porta potty, you better hope that the elastic in the built-in compression of your pants is tight, or you're going to have seepage. Just visualize that right now. Stay away from cheap ingredients that work against you and not with you. That is the foundation of the way that we bring these products to life, the way that we formulate them, and the ingredient selection that we choose. Now, we have formulated these, we have created these as athletes for athletes, as runners for runners, as triathletes for triathletes. So we have formulated and brought these products to life with that background and that intent. So the first product we're going to talk about is G1M Sport. That stands for, believe it or not, Go One More. Go One More Sport. This is a powdered supplement. Its benefits include fueling your workouts and your efforts, reducing fatigue, and combating the quote-unquote wall. Each serving has 20 grams of carbohydrates in the form of cluster dextrin, which is a fast-acting, fast-digesting carbohydrate source. And it also offers hydration support. So per scoop, per serving, there's 350 milligrams of sodium plus a full electrolyte profile. Like I said, this is a powdered supplement and it is naturally sweetened. How to use G1M Sport. Now, I like to consume 2 scoops before every run. And that gives me 40 grams of carbohydrates, 700 milligrams of sodium with a full electrolyte profile. At the point of my marathon training block that I'm in right now, at a minimum, I'm running 10 to 11 miles each day. So I'm taking at least 2 scoops of G1M Sport before my runs. Sometimes I'll add in some additional carbohydrates there, like sourdough, honey, jelly. Now that we have the Go Bar, I'll throw the Go Bar in with that as well to get some more carbohydrates. But G1M Sport is best used before and during training sessions. As I mentioned, think of G1M Sport as your fuel and hydration support. If I'm going on a really long run, a long, easy run, I will carry sometimes a handheld water bottle. The handheld water bottles I get are by this company called Nathan. I just get them off Amazon and they can hold, I want to say between 12 and 16 ounces of fluid. What I also like about those handheld water bottles is there's a pouch that has a zipper on the front that you can put a gel, a bar, or even like your key fob in there. Super convenient. But if I'm going on a very long run, a long, easy run where I can carry just a handheld water bottle, I'll throw in an extra 2 scoops of G1M Sport in that handheld and sip on it during the duration of that run. What I like about G1M Sport is it's fast acting, easily digestible. It's something that you can consume close to going out and working out. So if you wake up early and you like to wake up and go run like I do, it's really easy to just throw back 2 scoops of G1M Sport, wait a little bit. I wait like 20 minutes and then I go off on my run. And it digests very well, and you can feel the effects of the fuel support being the carbohydrates and then hydration with the electrolytes. Now, some significant benefits, features, facts about G1M Sport that I want to share with you. This is the reason we broke into the endurance supplement space. When I was training for my first Ironman ever, my first triathlon in 2019, I knew that I needed a carbohydrate and electrolyte supplement. So I was trying everything under the sun that was available at the time. And I kept experiencing stomach issues, gastrointestinal distress, bloating, gas, especially when you're on a bike. You know, when you're on a bike in aero position, hunched over for, say, 4 to 6 hours on a trainer or on the road, these are big training sessions. When you're hunched over like that and you're consuming these powdered carbohydrate and electrolyte supplements that are either maltodextrin based or dextrose, just sugar based, it can cause what's called gut rot. And that's exactly how it feels. Your stomach just turns into a knot and it hurts and it makes you want to bend over and clench, and you get stomach aches and pains and shooters, and you get bloated and gassy, and it's extremely uncomfortable. I experienced this a lot during my first triathlon, my first Ironman training block. So I was trying all these different fuel sources and I couldn't find one that would work with me and not against me. So I thought, we can do this better here at BPN. So that was the moment I went on this big search. I reached out to our contract manufacturers. I talked to our ingredient suppliers. I tried and tested every carbohydrate source that I could find to experience its impacts on my training, but even more importantly, on my stomach, on my gut. And through trial and error, which was not pleasant or comfortable, I discovered cluster dextrin, which I fell in love with. Now, cluster dextrin has low osmolality compared to other carbohydrate sources, which means that it exerts less pressure on the stomach and digestive system, allowing for easy digestion. This means that it decreases the risk of GI discomfort and bloating. And because it's fast acting, fast digesting, it's also able to replenish glycogen stores very quickly to accelerate recovery. Now, glycogen is the way that your body stores carbohydrate primarily in the muscle, but also the liver. And by replenishing your carbohydrate or your glycogen stores in the muscle after a training session, this does facilitate proper recovery. So that's how we came to the conclusion of using cluster dextrin. I fell in love with the science and the studies behind it, knew we had to use it in a product, and that's ultimately how G1M Sport was created. We saw a need, we searched high and low for the best carbohydrate source possible that alleviated all the issues, worked with the consumer, not against, and allowed for proper fueling, hydration, training, and optimized recovery. So G1M Sport is your quick, convenient, carbohydrate-based powdered supplement to use before or during training. It's really good to use during either low intensity or high intensity training because of how easy it is to consume. You can consume it while you're working out, while you're moving, and it's not going to cause issues for you. If you're someone who also likes to wake up early and not consume food, maybe you're not hungry, but you want that fuel source readily available, I'll mix up G1M Sport before I go to bed every night. I just put it in some water, 2 scoops and about 16 to 18 ounces of water, shake it up, put it in the fridge. So when I wake up in the morning, all I have to do is go into that fridge, grab it, slug it back, and then go get ready to go run. That is part of my everyday morning routine. That is G1M Sport. Now, the next product I'm going to talk about, like I said, recently we launched this a few weeks ago, is the Go Gel. The Go Gel is a product that I am so proud of. I'm so proud of the Go Gel because we've been working on an endurance gel for about 3 years now. And what's interesting about the Go Gel is that because I loved cluster dextrin in G1M Sport so much after formulating that product, when we started trying to bring a gel to market, I obviously was talking to contract manufacturers and I said, oh, carbohydrate source, we need to use cluster dextrin. I love cluster dextrin. So we started working with some manufacturers on a gel, but what we were finding is that they would create samples for us and they tasted great, but then we'd put them in the cabinet to see what would happen to that gel over the course of the next couple of days and weeks. And the cluster dextrin based gel would turn into a solid in 5 to 7 days, which obviously was a no-go to take that product to market. It wouldn't work. But I was so set on using cluster dextrin that we worked with contract manufacturers for months trying to make it work. We added things, we took things away. We were trying to figure out why cluster dextrin was clumping in a gel format. And I finally gave up on it. I was like, man, if we can't use cluster dextrin, let's backburn this project for a little bit. And then when Kat Thomas, our CEO, started working at BPN, her and I picked that project back up. I was like, we got to bring a Go Gel or a gel, an endurance gel to market. And that's when we leaned into the whole food, whole ingredient carbohydrate sources. And that worked. Again, it took months and months and months of research and development and testing and sampling, but we were finally able to bring it to market. So with all that being said, the Go Gel is very near and dear to my heart because I'm an endurance athlete. We launched it during my marathon training block, which was absolutely game-changing and just so clutch, so convenient. But I've been trying to bring this product to market for a long time. And we've gone through a lot of iterations, a lot of sampling, but we finally brought it to life. And it's one that I look at, I'm just so proud of because of how long it took, how determined we were, and we weren't willing to budge on anything but perfection with this endurance gel. Now, the way I like to think about the benefits of an endurance gel, I was thinking about this last night. It's a fuel source, yes. But I like to think of it in terms of rolling fuel. Rolling fuel. What does that mean? Now, gels can be used for lower intensity training. If you're going for a nice long run and you're in a marathon training block, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20 miles, having a few gels on hand, whether in a handheld water bottle, in a pocket of your pants, in a sleeve, and just in your hand. I carry them in my hand. These are super convenient, a super convenient and easy way to just carry and consume fuel. But these are also great for higher intensity training, as opposed to, say, G1M Sport. If you're running some fast miles and you're not willing to stop and consume large amounts of liquid, or it's just not convenient while you're on the go, that's where the gel comes into play. Like, I use gels during my tempo workouts, track workouts. I use gels during my long runs, and especially my marathon paced training workouts. If you've been following the sub 245 marathon YouTube training series, we show in many videos how I incorporate the Go Gel. And I'll talk about how to use it here in a little bit. But each gel has 24 grams of fast acting, fast digesting. As I mentioned, that is the foundation of our endurance line. Carbohydrates with some sodium for hydration support, sourced from whole food ingredients. Now, I mentioned earlier how I have had bad experiences, and you might have as well, with maltodextrin-based gels. We would never launch a maltodextrin-based gel to market because we don't believe in it, we don't like it. And we ended up using the whole food ingredients because they could work in the formula. They are easily digestible, and we can pack in 24 grams of carbs in a 41 gram pouch. Now, that's something a lot of people don't think about, who don't manufacture or produce products, especially in a format like a gel. You know, when we first started working on the Go Gel, the primary ingredient was apple puree. And to get 24 grams of carbs in a sachet, a packet, like a gel, it was like a 75 gram pouch, which was huge. We're like, there's no way people can carry and hold multiple 75 gram pouches during a race, a marathon, triathlon, or even an easy run. We wanted to bring the size of the packaging down, which guided our ingredient selection. Now, the ingredients in the Go Gel right now, we offer one flavor. It's apple cinnamon. Beautifully delicious. I mean, I'll tell you right now, there's people that work in this office that I see eating Go Gels at their desk. Like, I'm not lying. People are consuming the Go Gel just because it tastes good, not even around training. But the ingredients in the apple cinnamon flavor, we are working on more flavors right now. Apple juice concentrate, brown rice syrup, apple puree, purified water, lemon juice concentrate, sea salt, and ground cinnamon. Whole ingredients. 24 grams of carbs per gel, 110 milligrams of sodium, 100 calories. Beautiful. Now, we chose apple juice concentrate as the primary ingredient because to turn apple puree into apple juice concentrate, it reduces some of the water as well as the fiber content. So you get a more dense source of carbohydrates in a smaller solution without the fiber. And that's good because you don't want a lot of fiber in a gel or in any endurance products because it will slow down digestion. And you could have some issues with gastrointestinal distress, bloating, gas, stuff like that. Now, the best way to use these Go Gels, like I said, they're so convenient to just carry. What I'll do, especially for race day, I'll give you an example. For race day, I always wear shorts that have pockets, whether in the back or the side, internal pockets. A lot of these running or endurance clothing brands, they understand that you want to carry or need to carry fuel, and they won't really put pockets on the outside, but along the waist strap, there will be compartments and pockets, and I'll put 3 to 4 gels in my pockets, and then I'll carry 1 to 2. They're lightweight, they're small, they're dense, they're compact, they're convenient to carry. You really don't even realize they're on your body or tucked away in pockets. And I will stay stocked up with Go Gels to make sure that I have them during my race or big workouts. Now, what I like to do is have one Go Gel 15 minutes before I start a big workout or a race, and I'll have a gel every 4 to 5 miles. That's what I find works best for me. But I also encourage you to, like I said in the beginning of this episode, experiment with all of these products. How you use them, when you use them, make notes in a notebook. I mean, on today's workout, for example, I took 2 scoops of G1M Sport. I had a piece of sourdough with some jelly an hour and a half before my run. And then during the run, I had a Go Gel every 4 miles. At the end of this workout, this is how I felt. After I consumed each gel, this is the experience I had. Make notes and look back on your notes and refine your fueling strategy so you can figure out how you want to use these products around your training. That's the best way to approach it, in my honest opinion. That is the Go Gel. Rolling fuel. Rolling fuel that is easy and quick to carry. It is fast acting, fast digesting, whole ingredient carbohydrate source that is also really convenient to consume at faster paces and higher intensities. This is essential for race day. Whether you're doing a 5K, a half marathon, a full marathon, ultra marathon, you need fuel around these workouts, training sessions, and big efforts, especially races. Next up, we have Electrolytes. Electrolytes. What is it? What's the benefit? We've all heard of electrolytes. The question is, are you walking around dehydrated? Because a lot of people are. A lot of people think that whether you train or not, just consuming water is the key to hydration. But it is water with electrolytes that are going to maximize and optimize proper hydration levels. Now, you get electrolytes in the food that you consume, but also supplementing with electrolytes, especially if you're an athlete and training and sweating a lot, is critical. Our electrolyte formula and supplement has 500 milligrams of sodium per serving. It's naturally sweetened, 0 sugar, and combats dehydration symptoms, which can include fatigue, headaches, muscle cramps, constipation, which no one likes, reduced mental clarity, and decreased athletic performance. Now, if I train, regardless if I train or not in a given day, I always have at least 1 serving of electrolytes. Sometimes I'll drink it in the morning, the afternoon, the evening. I always have at least 1 scoop of electrolytes. But also, I'll use it around training. Now, as I mentioned, I always consume 2 scoops of G1M Sport before my morning runs. I'm getting 700 milligrams of sodium, full electrolyte profile in those 2 scoops. Right now, here in Tennessee, it is middle of November. When I'm running, it's about 40 degrees in the morning. I'm not sweating that much. 700 milligrams of sodium is fine for right now. In the summer, however, when I'm sweating even more, or when I'm in Texas, sweating even more than that, I will add additional electrolytes into my pre-run cocktail. I'll add an extra scoop or 2 based off of the workout, the distance, the duration, the intensity that I'm going after that day. The amount of sodium you consume in a day, the amount of electrolytes that you use throughout a day or around training is personalized and unique to the individual. And we talked about this in the Fueling for Performance, Endurance Performance podcast a few months ago. But everyone has different levels of sweat loss and a sweat rate. And there's tests that you can do that show how much sweat you lose during training based off of weather conditions and your weight and what you consume during. But if it's hot and humid out, you're going to lose more sodium in your sweat. Some people are naturally a saltier sweater. Some people are naturally a saltier sweater. And you'll know this if you go out and run or train, especially in the hot summer months, and your hat and your shirt or even your skin is covered in white salt crystals. If that's you, you're a salty sweater. You lose a lot of salt when you're sweating. So I adjust my electrolyte intake based off of the time of the year, the weather, the climate, how much I'm sweating, and I will increase it based off of those demands. But I always have at least one serving of electrolytes a day for proper hydration. Electrolytes is something I believe everyone should have in their household, whether they are an athlete, regardless of being an endurance athlete or not. But if you have an endurance goal, you're training for endurance, electrolytes are critical. They are essential to use throughout the day, before training, during training, and especially after workouts to replenish what you lost. There's been many times in my life, especially during big training blocks, when I've sweated more than I thought. I lost more electrolytes and I haven't replenished them. And the remainder of the day after a big training session, workout, I'm tired. I have brain fog. On top of that, our electrolytes taste absolutely amazing. Strawberry, salted watermelon, lemon lime, and we offer them in these full-size containers as well as our Go stick packs. Everyone should have electrolytes in your car, at your house, in your office. They, in my opinion, can make the biggest difference in the way you feel, the way you perform, the way you show up for your responsibilities. Add them electrolytes to your day. And ladies and gentlemen, the last product that I'm going to talk about that I'm so excited about, the Go Bar. The Go Bar is our newest product we are launching and offering. It is 200 calories per bar, 36 grams of carbohydrates. It is lightweight. It is sweet. It is fast and easily digestible. It is a fuel source to fuel your workouts and to replenish what you burned and lost afterwards to optimize recovery. I keep throwing fuel out there. We had G1M Sport, which is our powdered carbohydrate. We have the Go Gel, which is a gel, easy to carry, carbohydrate-based whole ingredient gel, which is convenient to throw in your back pocket, hold in your hand during races or bigger efforts. Again, different delivery systems for different wants and needs. The Go Bar is another delivery system for individual preferences, wants, and needs that I'm going to talk about. Say, for example, you're someone who wakes up in the morning, and I know a lot of these people, and you wake up and you don't want to eat anything, but you want to go run, like we talked about. That's where G1M Sport or even the Go Gel is great. Wake up, consume it very quickly, start getting ready for your run, get dressed, put your shoes on, out the door. Other people, like Jordan, our creative director here, he needs to eat something. He needs to have something in his stomach before he goes out and run. Every run. The Go Bar is perfect for him. He needs something solid or he'll be starving. His stomach will hurt. He doesn't have a really good workout or training session or run. Jordan is a clear example of someone who needs solids in his stomach before he goes and works out. That's where the Go Bar can be super convenient. Because it's so lightweight and easily digestible, fast acting, it's something that you can consume, wait 10, 15, 20 minutes, and then still go out and train and work out. And you're not going to feel like something's sitting in your stomach. And you're getting 36 grams of carbs. You can also stack some of these fuel sources on top of each other. If you're going for a big training session, maybe you want to have 2 scoops of G1M Sport and a Go Bar before you go out and run, you go out and train. And then you want to maybe carry some Go Gels and you have the Go Gels during that run. And then when you're finished and you want to replenish what was lost, you have a meal. Maybe you have some sourdough or some oatmeal and some eggs and bacon. And then maybe you throw in a scoop of electrolytes to replenish the electrolytes that were lost during that workout. The primary ingredients in the Go Bar, I will read them off for you right now. Gluten-free oats, organic brown rice syrup, sugar, rice crisps, coconut oil, rice flour, organic invert sugar syrup, water, sea salt, sunflower, lecithin, which is an emulsifier. 36 grams of carbohydrates per bar. It's sweet, it's lightweight, and it's formulated to provide fast-acting, sustainable energy. You can consume this before a workout, during a training session, especially if it's lower intensity. If you're on a long, slow, easy run, or you're on the bike, like if I was training for a triathlon and I was on the bike for a while, I would 100% have Go Bars accessible because it's something I can eat and consume. It's not going to tear up my stomach. It's going to provide me the fuel that I need to sustain that amount of effort for that workout. And the intensity isn't high enough where I'm not going to be able to chew and digest something. That is the Go Bar. I'm extremely excited about this because in my honest opinion, it completes the BPN endurance fuel source offering in something that we didn't have and we needed. We have G1M Sport, which is, like I said, our powdered endurance, carbohydrate rich hydration support supplement. We got the Go Gel for when you're hitting higher intensity paces or splits and you need to be able to carry something that's very accessible and easy to consume. We have the electrolytes that you can sip on before, during, or after to optimize critical hydration support. And now the Go Bar brings it full circle with a whole food ingredient bar that you have for your option of a solid as opposed to a liquid to consume before, during, or after. What I challenge you guys to do now is experiment with all these different delivery systems, how you use them, when you use them, and find what best works and fits your wants and your needs. I will tell you, I use all these products in different ways. based off of the workout that I'm attacking for that day. Is it an easy run? Well, how long am I going? How much fuel do I need? Is it higher intensity? Am I on the track? Is it tempo? Do I not have the ability to hold a handheld water bottle? And can I throw something in my back pocket? Do I need more carbohydrates and electrolytes based off the effort that I'm going to be applying for that day? And then when the workout's done, how am I supplementing to maximize recovery so I can show up for the workout the next day? Have a fuel plan, have a fuel strategy, and control the controllables to facilitate success. That's the video. Well, I guess I should say that's the podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And I just wanted to really talk about BPN's endurance product offering and how these products can work with you and not against you. So we'll see you in the next episode.